I know what Tori does, and I am a huge fan.
Thank
So
you.
Bonnie will talk all the way around something, and Tori will sit there and listen. And then all of a sudden she'll say, "What if it's something like this?" and plays me something. And I'm like, "Well, okay, that is it, right?" It hits it. So in in the spirit of not everyone lives in New York, LA, London, Nashville, I believe that we can create communities because of the world that we've lived through in the last 3, 4, 5 years. We can
Hmm.
create worlds like this. We can travel to those places, and we can also get out in the places we live, and we can start to explore some community, right?
Yep.
So you may feel like you are in the middle of a desert when it comes to collaboration, but my belief is there are people out there for us and for each of us. So what you you need to be in alignment with the collaborator. You're very, very great at the triangle of music is melody, top line, lyric, production. These two sides you have like done. The production, you know how to hire people to help you. um um Mark says being feeling awkward is being alive. I actually feel like that's,
Yeah.
you must have had a camera on one of my dating, experiences, because I am so alive, let me just say. um um so what I'm going to pull out some of your you know biggest collaborators that you've had. I know when I met you, there was a young producer in our building that you wrote with all the time.
Hmm.
And he was great at that production piece. You're coming in with lyric, and a lot of times you had an artist in your room, and then this producer. And I know that worked really well for you for a long time. And
Hmm.
then let's talk about Stephanie Quayle. What
Yeah.
drew you to Stephanie? And I'm gonna share music with you in a second, but give us a little history of that relationship and that story.
Yeah. Stephanie is an artist. I can't even remember when we met. Probably, I don't even know, 2014 or 15 or somewhere around there. She is like lightning in a bottle when you meet her, just like full of energy, has this like Dolly-esque, humor and just liveliness to her, and is just such a joy to be around. And we've written together a really long time. And, I think over that have really just, strengthened the trust and honing in musically what she wanted to do. And so I think, that was one of those situations where we just got set up on a blind co-write. I think there was, another collaborator, Andy Wills, who I had written a lot with, and maybe she had written with, which is often how it happens. It's like, oh, you write with so and so, let's get you with so and so. And I mean, I don't even really remember some of the early songs that we wrote. I just remember we had like just so much fun together, and just were laughing, and it was always like a joy when we left the room. And but one particular song we wrote called Selfish, she
Mhm.
ended up taking to country radio, and it was like you know, a bigger song for her. I think it got to like, I don't even know, 57 or something like that, which, obviously it's not a number one hit, but she's independent. So to do that as an independent artist, is a really big deal. So we've just kind of continued to write and stay in touch and be friends. And, I can kind of go into this album or the story behind all of it. But, long story short, she had been through some stuff in her life that she had never really divulged or written about, and she kind of finally wanted to put it out there and wanted to write an album about it with me, only me. And so we went to Montana and just wrote, me and her, for like 5 days. And, it was tears and laughter and all of the above. But it was, for me, it was a really, I was supremely honored that she asked me to kind of take this story and help her work through it. And it was probably one of the more intensive co-writing experiences that I've done. But yeah, she's a gem, and I'm really, really proud of the album that we wrote. So
I'm going to share with you guys, literally the album is called On the Edge, and there are 8 songs, and Tori and Stephanie wrote all 8 of them together, which unbelievable. And also I want to mention Stephanie is an independent artist. So when someone reaches 57 on the country chart and they do not have like a lot of money and label and money, things behind them, that's actually that's a good feat to do that. So I want to mention that. But I'm gonna focus on a song, Only Good Will Come of This, number 8 on the record. And as you see, on Spotify, the 8th song on this record hasn't gotten as many spins as some of the others. I also want to just challenge you. Sometimes the 5th song or the 3rd song or the 8th song on a record can be life-changing and not be the song that gets the most attention, and that's okay. We're not in competition, even though I'm a competitive person. What we're in is in the human business, and we're trying to convey and we're trying to communicate with the world out there that needs healing and needs attention and communication on a level that is soul giving and healing in a way that we cannot get out of anything else. So and on the backside of this song, then I want to tell you what Tori and Stephanie were able to do with this, but this is called Only Good Will Come.
Only good will come of this, even though you can't see it. I know it feels like an endless bridge, you gotta walk alone. Keep your head up when you cry, till you get to the other side. Thank God that you're still alive, so start to live. Only good will come of this. That's what my mama said on the worst day I ever had. I could barely catch my breath, but she said keep breathing. I couldn't even look ahead, let alone get out of bed. Took 8 months and all I had till I believed only good will come of this, even though you can't see it. I know it feels like an endless bridge, you gotta walk alone. Keep your head up when you cry, till you get to the other side. Thank God that you're still alive, so start to live. Only good will come of this. Now that's what I always say when a stranger comes my way, carrying the heaviest weight. They don't understand, it ain't gonna dim the pain or take all the hurt away, But hope has a funny way of lending a hand. Only good will come of this, even though you can't see it. No, it feels like an endless bridge. You gotta walk alone. Keep your head up when you cry, till you get to the other side. Thank God that you're still alive, so start to live. Only good will come of this. Only good will come of this, even though you can't see it. I know it feels like an endless bridge. You gotta walk alone. Keep your head up when you cry, till you get to the other side. Thank God that you're still alive, so start to live. Only good will come of this.
I absolutely love that. And
Thank you.
so the end of that story is that, well, I'm going to let Tori tell you. Yeah, tell us where that song ended up getting to be.
Yeah. So I, a little backstory on the record. Stephanie had lived in Los Angeles and had been in a relationship with a guy, I think about 4 or 5 years, and he had a daughter and they were kind of building this life together. And he died in a plane crash. And when the funeral happened, she realized that he was having multiple lives with other women. And she is happily married now. She's has a wonderful life, wonderful husband. But she had never really written about that or even told anyone about it. It was not even a part of her career at all. So the record is really kind of processing that, everything that happened with that. And that last song is kind of the resolution and the, moving forward, getting some kind of peace after something difficult. And I know that her mom, that's what her mom just kind of kept telling her throughout everything that happened. So.
And then Stephanie was invited to play at the Opry.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
She so Stephanie, I think, has played at the Opry 12 times now. So she is, really in with them, which is wonderful. And when the record got released, she got invited to play that night and invited me to come play piano for her on that song. So it was it was an incredible experience, and never in my life did I think, I would be able to say that I played the Opry, let alone last year. So I think it's just a testament to how generous she is and how caring she is for her people, because she totally did not have to do that. And she really just set me up big time. I think the audience thought I was like Garth Brooks or something like that. They were clapping. I was like, it was pretty funny. But yeah, it was just a really beautiful way for her to just say thank you for, getting into all of that stuff with her and kind of working through all those emotions.
So I'm going to encourage you to check out the record because the whole thing is beautiful. It puts into words and music and production, which the production on this to me is just so spot on. It's so perfect.
Yeah.
And I think it's just not lost on me that the beginning of your time in Nashville, you learn that it's all about the song. And then the song is what invites you to the Opry to play. And,
Yeah.
for many, many people never get to play the Opry. So what an honor and a sacred space that is. And what a great song. And, it was just one of those moments that, I just was so proud when I saw that you were playing that night and you were sitting at that piano and just doing a great job.
Thank
And
you.
so I'm gonna show you guys. This is the record. It's called Baby Steps, Tori Tullier. You can get a physical copy. You can also get it on Spotify, Apple, any of the places. There's also there are 6 songs on this that Tori wrote front to back, and you do have a producer on it, but I know how hard you sat and worked on arrangements and production things. So even though someone's name is on it, and who did a great job, no doubt,
Yeah.
but
Shout out to Justin Klump, who
yeah,
did a great job.
yes, he did a great job, and I give it up to him. But I also want to mention that you knew what you wanted, and I remember how hard you worked on every single detail to get the arrangements correct, the key correct, the right vibe, the right feel. You had the vision for it. So
Thank you.
I'm trying to hold it correctly here. So grab yourself a copy. You can also get in touch with me, and I will. Mark is asking your thoughts on close when you Chance, you could please explain the workflow and timescales of the song, your thoughts on close needs a rewrite. Okay, Mark, that's a lot of questions. And I swear to God, I could sit here and talk all day, and we kind of have to, we have about 12 minutes. So, Tori, do you feel like you can tackle that? Trisha, I
Sure.
agree. I think that's a stunning song. Thank you guys for workflow, time scales of the song, and give an answer. And then if anyone else has a question, we'll have probably time for one more question.
Yeah. I think, you know, the Nashville thing is normally, you start at 11 and you finish around 3 or 4. But that's, I think it all depends what you're working towards and who you're working with. There's been times when I write by myself and a song will take 6 months. It'll take 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And I think with workflow, I'm trying to think. I mean, when you're with other people, I feel like that's maybe a little easier because you can kind of, ping pong off each other to move it forward. And, there's just a bit more, it's more of a team effort. And you can kind of say, well, I'm struggling in this area. What does this part need? And that can kind of maybe have it go quicker. Whereas when you're by yourself, sometimes it's so hard to even just get the words out. And I will say with solo writing, as much as you possibly can, just get them out. Don't worry if they're good or bad. I find I rewrite a lot more on my own. But once I have that initial draft, I can kind of always go back to it. And then I think it's sort of, it's an instinct thing if you're co-writing. I've had people get together and both of us kind of circle back and we're like, yeah, that bridge isn't as strong as it needs to be, or like, oh, I really wish the first verse did that. And then other times you have one person that says, no, I think it's perfect. And then someone else really wants to dive in. And, if you kind of disagree on that, then that's when maybe you can say, all right, I'm not, I don't mean to like drag you into this. I'm going to go and just work on this on my own. Obviously you still have to give them credit because you've already, you know, once you start something, it's generally 50-50. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and we also have had an experience. Tori and I were playing a show together not long ago, and you said something to me before we started. We were chatting, and you looked at me and said, "We got to write that." And then after the first of the year, we did write that song. We had this very defined hook lyric title, and then it was just filling in the gaps, and I think that took us 3 or 4 hours. um and I'm very pleased with it. But having a great idea is a way to make your workflow so much easier, like really having a defined thing that you're trying to say, and always remembering a song is 3 minutes and you really only need about a minute of content that you're just creating a hook to go around. Is there one more question we can dive into? Anybody have a question?
I will say too, while people are thinking on rewriting, you know, that's a good opportunity to maybe find some people that you look up to, or that are maybe, you know, you can go to for some guidance, or that have a little more experience. I certainly did that and still do that, because sometimes you just need an outside pair of ears, you know, to say, hey, yeah, this chorus could be stronger. I don't really know what you're trying to say here.
Mhm,
So within the industry, and it's really important to play your songs for people not in the industry, not with the musical brain, because
mhm,
they're, you know, they'll be very straightforward. That's like, you know, I don't get what this is saying. I don't get what these lyrics mean, or like I got confused here, or like, you know, I didn't like this part, you know. So it's good to get feedback, but as always, take it with a grain of salt, and
mhm.
you know what's best for you.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions or thoughts? And also, I want to let you know that if any of you want to get a copy of the record, I'll be happy to share that information and ways to get a copy of Baby Steps. It is really a great piece of work. And a lot of you
Thank
are
you.
independent artists that are making your own projects. I know Deborah's going to be making a project this year. And so that in itself is a whole nother day that we can talk about, because it is scary and overwhelming. And yet, what did that feel like when you completed it and opened the box with those CDs? What did that feel like for you?
Man, it felt awesome, because I think so many things in music are intangible, you know. There's not a start and an end, unless, you know, in the world of songwriting, you write something, it gets to the person, then they release it, which can just take years. And so more often than not, you've got, you know, a big folder of songs on your computer that aren't out in the world yet. So I think for me to like say, hey, I'm doing this, you know, it doesn't matter the end result. You know, I'm going to finish something and get a physical thing that I can hold in my hand that I made.
Mhm.
That was just amazing for me.
That's awesome. And I think you and I were talking about the other day, that one of the things that's hard right now is we work so hard for a song and the arrangement, the production. And then once it's released into streaming, it just kind of goes poof. And and
Mm-hmm.
and, and there's not always a lot of satisfaction with that. I don't know really how to change that, because it's just kind of digital info out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have you, one last question from me. Have you had any moments where someone hears a song or the invitation to the Opry that is a validation of what you're doing that surprised you?
Mm-hmm. I would say, I mean, anytime someone, I think, just connects with a song, get an Instagram message, or someone comes up to me after a show and says, wow, I really love that, or like that inspired me to do X, or whatever. I mean, certainly the awards and all of those things, feel nice, but I don't think, and I'm kind of retraining my brain, you know, that's not the carrot that you're going after.
Mhm.
If it is, then you're not, you're not going to land where you're supposed to land. So anytime I kind of feel myself thinking like, oh, radio hit or number one or award or blah blah blah, it's like what's really the goal is to create stuff that makes us feel good, and hopefully other people feel, good or validated because they've felt a similar way, or XYZ.
Mhm. And after you and I played that show and our friend Raquel Cole joined us, I got so many messages of people that had never met either any three of us, and emailing me or sending me messages of like the energy you guys had, the songs you had really spoke to me. And I don't know that there will ever be anything greater than that for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
just when you connect with somebody and the message of a song, the lyric, that melody, something really resonates for them, and they let me know. Um, that for me has been the greatest joy. So I do think starting there is is the way to keep myself inspired and passionate about it. And all right, guys, I was determined to keep it an hour, and we have done that. I adore each and every one of you. Some of you are in my year-long intensive, which we meet once a month. We write songs, we share songs, we give feedback, and it is probably one of my favorite days of the month. So thank you guys that are in that. Tori, you gave up a Sunday to hang out and talk about
Oh,
songwriting.
hey, this I get to have coffee and talk to Bonnie Baker. That's a great day for me.
Oh man, I I really I adore songwriting probably just more than anything else on the planet. I hope each of you will take something from today, will pull it into yourself and will incorporate it. I believe that the beauty of art and music lives here, and then we just are in charge of learning how to express it in a way that makes us proud of the messaging and of the song itself. But there's nothing more sacred in my mind than a song and the songwriting room where those songs happen. I adore all of it. And Deborah saying thank you, Tori. Deborah, thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you. Thanks
I
for
love it. And
everyone for joining.
for the world, this is our first of is collaboration important? And my answer to that is it is absolutely vital. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.